Taeho limped into his home, the mechanical support on his left leg making a soft whirring sound. The war with humans had ended many years ago, but his body still showed the damage from those battles. His son Minho was at his study desk looking at military history files. Minho had become very interested in war stories since joining the Krevlian Academy. "Father, I've been reading about Admiral Kim and the battle at Proxima Centauri. The humans fought in strange ways," said Minho. His 4 eyes blinked one after another, showing his curiosity. Taeho's upper skin ridge got tight. This was how Krevlians showed discomfort. "Admiral Kim," he said quietly. "I was there at Proxima. The history files don't tell you what it was really like. The sound of human ships breaking through our defense line, or watching their soldiers keep fighting even when badly hurt." Minho turned away from his screen, suddenly very interested. His father almost never talked about fighting in the war. "The books say humans are weaker than most space creatures. They have Class 3 endurance and Class 4 strength ratings. How did they beat our forces?" Taeho sat down heavily on a cushion. "Ratings and numbers, they don't tell you anything important about humans." He reached for a decorated box on a shelf that held his war medals and memory recordings. "Maybe it's time for you to understand what the rating systems miss." Taeho showed Minho a memory crystal. "This will let you see my fight with a human squad during the Proxima battle," he explained. "I led our best unit. We had more soldiers, better weapons, and stronger bodies. By all normal thinking, we should have won easily." When the memory started playing, Minho saw through his father's eyes. Tight hallways in a damaged Krevlian ship, the sharp smell of burnt wiring, the weight of a plasma gun in his hands. He watched human soldiers break through the front door. They were smaller than Krevlians, with no natural armor, only 2 eyes and weak-looking arms and legs. But they moved together perfectly, using small signals to communicate and often acting without being told what to do. A human female took 3 direct hits to her chest armor but kept moving forward, shooting with perfect aim. Another human got what should have been a killing wound but still pulled 2 hurt friends to safety before falling down. "They have a chemical called adrenaline that their bodies make when in danger," Taeho's voice explained over the memory. "But that's just the science part. It doesn't explain why they simply refuse to give up." The memory changed to show a face-to-face meeting with a human officer. The human had blood on his face, but his eyes stayed focused, thinking, and showed no fear at all. Human history is full of stories about one human lifting heavy vehicles to save trapped children, living through conditions that would kill most species, feeling pain that should be too much to handle. Taeho continued. "They call it the human spirit. We don't have a word like that in our language." When the memory ended, Minho's upper membranes moved rapidly, showing he was upset. "But we have better technology. Our battle computers cannot predict what humans will do," Taeho cut in. "After the war, I studied their history. Their whole civilization grew through fighting, not just with other species, but with themselves. For thousands of years, they fought each other over resources, beliefs, land. While we were learning how to make decisions together, they were getting better at war." Taeho walked to the window and looked at the 3 moons of their home planet. The Galactic Council said humans were only a medium threat because of their technology level. What the Council didn't understand was that humans don't just rely on technology. When their advanced machines break, they use simple tools instead. When their bodies start to fail, they keep going through pure will. Minho joined his father at the window. "At school, they teach us that the peace treaty was good for our people." Taeho laughed without joy. "Good? No. Practical. Humans don't want to wipe out other species. That's another thing people get wrong about them. They look for challenges to overcome, and once they overcome them, they offer to work together." He turned to face his son. "But never think their friendly talk means they are weak. The treaty exists because they respect strength and honor, not because they were afraid to keep fighting." "Is that why you argued against the new military report that says we could beat them now with our new quantum weapons?" Minho asked. "That report measures firepower, not determination. It counts ships, not the spirit driving them. Taiho's voice got very quiet. During a prisoner exchange, I talked with a human general. She told me something I've never forgotten. Humanity isn't defined by our victories, but by our refusal to accept defeat. Taiho inserted the memory crystal into the playback device. A soft hum filled the room as Minho waited, his breathing getting faster with excitement. This recording shows my fight with humans during the Proxima battle, Taiho said. I led our best fighters. We had more soldiers, better weapons, and stronger bodies. By all normal thinking, we should have won easily. The memory began flowing into Minho's mind. He was now seeing through his father's eyes. Tight hallways in a damaged ship, the sharp smell of burnt wiring, the heavy weight of a plasma gun in his hands. He watched human soldiers break through the door at the front of the ship. They were smaller than Krevlians with no natural armor, only 2 eyes, and weak-looking arms and legs. But they moved together perfectly, using small hand signals to talk to each other and often acting without being told what to do. One human female was hit 3 times in her chest armor, but kept moving forward, shooting with perfect aim. Another human got what should have been a killing wound but still pulled 2 hurt friends to safety before falling down. They have a chemical called adrenaline that their bodies make when in danger, Taiho's voice explained as the memory played. But that's just the science part. It doesn't explain why they simply refuse to give up. Minho felt a cold feeling as he watched the humans fight. They didn't act like the simple creatures he had learned about at school. They acted almost like they could read each other's minds, moving in ways that confused the Krevlian soldiers, who were used to fighting by strict battle plans. The memory changed to show a face-to-face meeting with a human officer. The human had blood on his face, but his eyes stayed focused, thinking, and showed no fear at all. Stand down, the human said in rough Krevlian language. Your ship is lost. Surrender and we will treat your wounded. Minho felt his father's shock at the human speaking their language. In the memory, Taiho had raised his weapon, but the human did not move back or show fear. You are bleeding, memory Taiho said. You are hurt. How can you still fight? The human smiled, a strange expression that showed teeth. This is nothing. I've had worse cutting myself shaving. When more human soldiers arrived, the human officer ordered them to treat the wounded Krevlians first, even though some of his own soldiers were badly hurt. The memory jumped forward. Now Minho saw a human medical room. His father was lying on a bed, his leg badly damaged. The same human officer stood nearby. Why did you save us? Memory Taiho asked. We would not have saved you. Because that's what makes us human, the officer replied. We fight hard, but we don't fight without purpose. Killing without need is just waste. The memory ended and Minho blinked his 4 eyes as he returned to the present. He looked at his father, seeing the old warrior in a new way. They are so small, Minho said, so fragile. Yet they won. Taiho nodded. Human history is full of stories about one human lifting heavy vehicles to save trapped children, living through conditions that would kill most species, feeling pain that should be too much to handle. They call it the human spirit. Our people have no words for this concept. Is that why you keep the human knife on your wall? Minho asked, pointing to a simple metal blade mounted in a case. Yes. The officer gave it to me before I was sent, back in the prisoner exchange. He said it belonged to his grandfather, who fought in something called World War II on their home planet. He said it reminded him that humans have fought harder battles against each other than they ever fought against us. Taiho took down the case and handed it to his son. Look at the handle. It's worn smooth by human hands. 3 generations of human warriors held this simple tool. They didn't need energy weapons or battle computers. They fought with steel and blood and never-ending will. Minho looked at the knife with new understanding. The Academy teaches us that humans are just another species, with strengths and weaknesses we can measure and plan for. And that, said Taiho, is why the Academy would lose another war with humans. You cannot measure their spirit. You cannot plan for their creativity. And you cannot ever make them give up. As the memory playback ended, Minho's upper membranes fluttered rapidly, showing his distress. But we have better technology. Our battle computers cannot predict what humans will do. Taiho cut in. After the war, I studied their history. Their whole civilization grew through fighting, not just with other species, but with themselves. For thousands of years, they fought each other over food, beliefs, and land. While we were learning how to make decisions together, they were getting better at war. Taiho walked to the window and looked at the 3 moons of their home planet. The largest moon glowed red in the evening light, reminding him of the human blood he had seen spilled in battle. The Galactic Council said humans were only a medium threat because of their technology level. What the Council didn't understand was that humans don't just rely on technology. When their machines break, they use simple tools instead. When their bodies start to fail, they keep going through pure will. Minho joined his father at the window. At school, they teach us that the peace treaty was good for our people. Taiho laughed without joy. Good? No. Practical. Humans don't want to kill all other species. That's another thing people get wrong about them. They look for challenges to overcome, and once they overcome them, they offer to work together. He turned to face his son. But never think their friendly talk means they are weak. The treaty exists because they respect strength and honor, not because they were afraid to keep fighting. Is that why you argued against the new military report that says we could beat them now with our quantum weapons? Minho asked. That report counts weapons, not will. It measures ships, not the spirit driving them. Taiho's voice got very quiet. During a prisoner exchange, I talked with a human general. She told me something I'll never forget. Humanity isn't defined by our victories, but by our refusal to accept defeat. Taiho walked to his war chest and pulled out an old data tablet. After that meeting, I started collecting human battle stories. Not the big wars or famous battles, but small moments that show their true nature. He handed the tablet to Minho. Read this account of the human battle of Thermopylae, where a tiny group fought against a huge army. Or this one about their Alamo, where every defender died rather than surrender. Or this story of their Dunkirk, where civilians in small boats saved a trapped army. Minho scrolled through the stories with growing interest. These can't all be true. No species would keep fighting when defeat is certain. That's exactly what makes humans different, Taiho said. In their history, their most honored warriors are often those who lost battles but showed great courage. They have a saying, it's not whether you get knocked down, it's whether you get up again. Taiho pointed to a scar on his face. This was given to me by a human female half my size. Her weapon was broken, her team was dead, and she was badly wounded. Yet she attacked me with a piece of metal pipe, rather than surrender. Did you kill her? Minho asked quietly. No, I couldn't. Her courage earned my respect. I took her prisoner instead. Later, during prisoner exchange, she thanked me and said if we ever met in peace times, she would buy me a drink. She laughed when I told her our species cannot drink alcohol. Taiho's face grew serious again. But for every story of human kindness, there are 10 of human rage. When truly threatened, they become something else entirely. They have a concept called total war, where an entire society focuses on nothing but defeating an enemy. Their history has examples of them destroying whole cities just to break their enemy's will to fight. Minho looked troubled. So should we fear them or respect them? Both, Taiho said firmly. Fear their capacity for violence. Respect their capacity for honor. Remember this always, humans can be your strongest ally or your worst nightmare. The choice is often yours to make. Taiho took back the data tablet and showed his son a picture of Earth, the human homeworld. Look at this planet. Extreme hot and cold areas, vast oceans, dense forests, burning deserts. The humans evolved on this death world, fighting every kind of natural danger. Is it any wonder they became the galaxy's best survivors? The Academy never taught us this, Minho said. The Academy teaches facts and figures, but facts and figures didn't save our fleet at Proxima. Understanding your enemy might have. Taiho put his hand on his son's shoulder. And that is the blood-written lesson I want you to learn. Know the humans. Understand them. Respect them. But never ever challenge them unless you are prepared to fight a war that may never truly end. 3 cycles later, Minho found himself aboard the Krevlian diplomatic vessel, Star Harmony, part of a delegation to the human capital on Mars. As a junior helper to Ambassador Bora, his job was mostly to watch and learn. His father had arranged this chance for him despite many who opposed it. The humans had changed Mars completely over the past 50 years. They built huge domed cities and areas where earth plants now grew. It showed how they could take a harsh world and reshape it instead of changing themselves to fit it. During a formal meeting, Minho watched human diplomats from different Earth regions talking with 20 different alien species. The humans easily handled all the different cultural rules, changing how they acted for each alien group. Amazing, isn't it? A voice said in perfect Krevlian behind him. Minho turned to find an older human female. Her face had many age lines, but her eyes were sharp and watching him closely. Commander Taiho's son, I think. You look like him. You know my father? Minho asked, too surprised to remember proper manners. Yunha, she said, holding out her hand in the human greeting way. Your father and I met several times during the war. Minho's membranes opened wide in shock. Admiral Yunha? The nightmare of Proxima? The human's face stayed calm, but something in her eyes hardened. We all had names we didn't choose. Your father was called the Cold Cutter by my soldiers. Before Minho could answer, loud alarms rang through the meeting hall. Security. Staff rushed to protect the diplomats as a voice announced, "Warning to all people. Unknown ships have broken through Mars' defense ring. This is not a drill. Go to safety areas now." In the rush that followed, Minho saw something amazing, how quickly the human diplomats changed. Just seconds before, they had been friendly hosts. Now they moved like soldiers, their nice clothes not hiding the warriors underneath. Admiral Yunha grabbed his arm. "Stay close. The Star Harmony is being targeted." From a nearby window, Minho saw spaceships firing at each other. 3 human defense ships formed a wall to protect the civilian areas of Mars. Even though they were much smaller than the attacking ships, they fought fiercely. "Who is attacking?" Minho asked, his voice shaking. "Your own people," Yuna said grimly. "A group that hates the peace treaty." She pulled him toward a safer area deep inside the building. As they moved, Minho saw humans of all types working together perfectly. Some carried weapons, others helped wounded people, and still others worked on computers to coordinate the defense. "I don't understand," Minho said. "These are diplomats and civilians. How do they know what to do in a battle?" "Because almost all humans have basic battle training," Yunha explained as they ran. "Even our peace workers know how to fight if needed. It's part of who we are." They reached a secure room where other diplomats were gathering. Through the room's view screens, Minho watched the battle unfold in space and on the ground. Ships, even civilian ones, moved to protect populated areas. Some small transport ships even crashed themselves into enemy vessels to save others. Most amazing was watching Admiral Yuna. She had been a peace worker for 20 years, but now she took control of the defense operations like someone who had never left the military. She gave clear orders, predicted enemy moves, and stayed completely calm even when things looked bad. "Admiral," a human officer called out, "they've breached the East Dome. Civilian casualties reported." Minho expected anger or panic. Instead, Yunha's face became like stone. "Activate all reserve forces. Move the hospital ships to Sector 4. And tell the fleet, no mercy for ships that target civilians." Another officer ran up to them. "Admiral, we've intercepted their communications. They're specifically targeting you and the Krevlian peace delegation." Yuna looked at Minho with serious eyes. "It seems some of your people think killing you will end the peace. We need to move you to the secure bunker. Follow me." As they moved through the building, Minho realized what his father had tried to explain. These humans were not just good fighters, they were born survivors who could switch from peace to war in an instant. And when protecting others, they became truly dangerous. The attack came from a small group of the Krevlian military, rebels, who thought the peace treaty had brought shame to their species. They wanted to destroy the diplomatic ship and kill the human leaders on board. As Minho huddled in a safe room with other diplomats, he watched through security screens what his father had tried to explain. The human response was quick and powerful. Civilian ships formed defense lines. Transport ships crashed into enemy vessels to protect living areas. Emergency workers ran into damaged sections with little protection. But most amazing was watching Admiral Yunha, a peace worker for 20 years, lead the defense like someone who had never stopped being a soldier. When the rebels broke into the diplomatic ship, Minho found himself face to face with his own kind carrying weapons. As the attacker raised a plasma gun, a human security guard threw herself in front of the beam, a choice that meant certain death, made without hesitation. The fight lasted less than 1 hour. The rebels were caught or killed, their ships disabled, with perfect accuracy. As medical teams helped the wounded, Minho approached Admiral Yunha, who was wrapping a cloth around a wound on her arm. "Why did your guard give her life for me?" he asked, his voice shaking. Yunha looked up, her face serious. "Because that's what humans do. We protect those in our care, even if it costs our lives. It's not a battle plan. It's simply who we are." When Minho returned to Krevlia, he went straight to his father's home. Taiho was waiting, having already heard news of the attack. "Now you understand," Taiho said simply. Minho nodded slowly. "School teaches us to study strengths and weaknesses, to calculate chances of winning, but they cannot calculate the human factor." "No," his father agreed. "And that is why I warn you, as I warn all young officers who will listen. Never challenge humans, not because we cannot win a battle, we might, but because humans never accept final defeat. They learn, adapt, and come back stronger. They build friendships where we see only competition. They find strength in differences where we seek strength in sameness." Taiho put both hands on his son's shoulders. "The most dangerous thing about humans isn't their technology or their bodies. It's their ability to change, as individuals and as a species. They are never the same enemy twice." Minho realized that his father wasn't teaching him to fear humans, but to respect them, and perhaps to learn from them. The biggest lesson wasn't about human fighting skills, but about their value as friends. "I understand, father," he said. "The wisest path isn't avoiding fights with humans. It's making sure we never give them reason to see us as enemies again." Taiho's membranes relaxed in approval. "Now you are truly ready to serve in our new galactic community. Remember, when with humans, expect the unexpected. And watch carefully, for we have much to learn." That night, Minho added to his personal records what he had learned firsthand about humans. He wrote, "Their strength isn't in their weapons, but in their spirit. They don't just defeat enemies, they turn enemies into allies. They don't just survive, they help others survive too. They are quick to fight and quick to forgive. They give their lives for ideals and for each other. They are the most dangerous and most valuable species in the galaxy." He paused, then added one final line. "Father was right. The path to survival isn't challenging humans. It's becoming worthy of their friendship." Minho sealed the record and placed it carefully in his war chest. He hoped he would never need these lessons, but like his father, he would make sure they were not forgotten.